Good morning, good afternoon, as the case is for my brother Mo today, and good evening for the people that are watching from where I am, which is the UK. You're all very welcome to another edition of Daily Grizz. Not so daily recently, I apologize. But as Mo was asking me beforehand, just offline, I don't do this full time. You guys know this. But with your love and support, you never know. And the way your love and support is so far, you never know. It's looking positive. That's all I'm going to say. It's looking positive. You may get more Grizz Khan on your YouTube channels, whether you like it, whether you don't. You're very welcome. As you enter the stream, please feel free to hit a like. Free being the operative word. Feel free as it's free. But yeah, we're here to talk about the daily news. After all, it is the Daily Grizz. We do what it says on the tin. So plenty of chat about today. Plenty of chat. Some panic buys. Some good links. Liverpool fans will be interested to know what, who, and how, and where does Brozovic play because we've been linked with him. Barella play, and I've got just the man to speak on all topics, especially Inter Milan. I've got the wonderful Mo with me. Mo, how are you, brother?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. So glad to be here with you, brother Grizz. I'm humbled to be invited for the second time to your channel. I'm so glad that I will talk to you about whatever you want about Inter, about the Premier League, about the news, about everything. And I want to thank everybody that is watching. It's just you guys keep us going, and that's what I think all the time. And it's just great to be here with you, brother.
Thank you very much, sir. You're very welcome as well. Sonny King says, "Are you busy practicing footy golf again?" Sonny, I'm not going to be practicing anymore. No more practicing. I promise myself. I'm going to go out there in the next round and just let the talent do the talking. I've done too much talking and less of the talent. So now I'm going to let the talent do the talking. So I'm going to zip it. But you guys carry on. You guys carry on taking the mick out of me, and you have every right to. But listen, I was the oldest man there. I had the most time out of football. I was the illest there. Like I was actually vomiting on the morning. And I still didn't finish last. I finished middle. I finished third out of six. Talk to the people that finished below me, guys. That's all I'm saying. Zahir says, hello, both of you. Hello, you as well. Oh my God. Not more active, not more levers. Oh my God. Barcelona and levers. What's going on, man? Mohit wants to know, Grizz, do you think the midfield will be the reason we screw up this season? For which club? Mohit, which club? This is not a Liverpool channel today. This is a football chat, generic. So let us know. Do what Techers Dave says. Big up the lads. Smash the like button on the way in, people. Oh, yar. Yar means friend. Mo, sorry, just in case you're thinking, what does yar mean? Oh, yar. It's like an expression. We say, oh, my friend. Oh, yar. It was a disaster for the people that finished below me, not for me. I finished second and third. I think that's very respectful, the two courses. Mo, I think there would have been only one place to start if there wasn't a Manchester United on this planet. I think the place to start would have been Fulham, Craven Cottage, Liverpool, drama, issues, midfield, injuries. But thankfully, there's a club called Manchester United that keeps me sane. It doesn't really, because they're at that stage where I don't even think about them. I don't even care about them. But still, they remain very entertaining, but all for the wrong reasons. Just very briefly about the game, and then we'll get into what they're planning or thinking of doing.
I have my notes here from the game, and I have couple of things. The first thing I wrote after 10 minutes is that Graham Potter studied Man United and knew what to expect, and Ten Hag was a lazy student and did not study anything. He came to the game not prepared at all, didn't know what to expect, and just hats off to Graham Potter, who is again and again shows how well drilled his team is and how he prepares for games. He doesn't get the credit he wants, but it's Man United again. You tell me, you tell me that this squad that they have is not good enough. I get it, but Antonio Conte took over an incompetent Spurs squad last year. They were like seventh, and he was able to get something out of these guys, and he was fourth. Now this he had months with these players, and then he still showed up to the field not knowing what to expect and what to do. They were, after 16 seconds, they were like making mistakes and not knowing what to do. And just one thing about this game, that first goal that Brighton scored, that Welbeck run between Martinez and Maguire, they did that 4 times before, but no one paid attention. So Ten Hag, great system, Ajax, semi-final, Champions League, blah, blah, blah. But he came to the Premier League, and this Brighton team, there's 100 tapes of them. They played the same system. They didn't even change anything, Brighton. But he was unprepared. And his excuse was, we didn't have any strikers. Come on, just give me a break, please. Show up at least with some plans, and then when the players don't execute, talk about the players. But from the people that were in the stadium, and my brother Cass was there from Never Foul, and you know Cass, and he said, we should. It's the first minute. We're like, where are the players standing? Why are we all over the place? Where is the Ten Hag system that he has been working on for 2 months? And we see in preseason, it was strange. And for me, it's not looking great, because if you have a plan like Jurgen Klopp, the first day he took over Liverpool, we saw one thing. We saw what he wanted to do, but he didn't have the tools. But I didn't see it this game. And I know it's only first game and overreaction and all the stuff, but, you know, I wanted to see what the coach wanted to do, and I didn't see it.
No surprise that I'm in full agreement with you, but not because that I'm a Liverpool fan and I've got this biasness in my head. But genuinely, the points that you make are solid points, because everyone talks about time and the first game and elite coaches, etc., etc. Let's talk about a couple of recent acquisitions the Premier League has made in terms of coaches. Well, one recent and one obviously not so recent anymore. But what I mean is like high-level coaches that came with a big reputation. Antonio Conte being one. How quickly did he take over this Spurs team and have an imprint on the identity? Automatically, they became hard to beat. Automatically. And that's what he's known for. Tactical Tommy. Everyone knows I'm a massive fan of Tactical Tommy. I am. I joke. I muck about with him because he's good. But he came in to that Chelsea team and enabled them to win the Champions League. And the best example is Jurgen Klopp. He came in mid-season, Mo, and his first game was away to Spurs after 7 to 8 days worth of coaching on the training ground. And instantly he had them pressing and playing in a way where we thought, oh my God, we see what he's trying to do. By God, it didn't work. It looked kind of funky. Lucas and Joe Allen and all these kinds of players, Adam Lallana and all sorts, I remember, right? Trying to execute his plans, as you said. But with the Man United, they've had all summer, all the preseason hype and all of that. And all we've been hearing is we've seen patterns of play. I didn't see any patterns of play. All we've been hearing is pressing triggers, and they looked at the work rate and the energy. I didn't see any of that. They look like a lost team still. And that is unfortunately a sad indictment on a coach, despite not having enough time. So we don't go overboard with the criticism. We don't go wild. We don't call for anything apart from what we see. And what we saw was nothing. What we saw was the same attitude, same formation, and same approach as last season, which was deemed the worst in their history. They've got a lot of work to do.
Yeah, man. It's just, I'm not taking the excuses about it's the same players. I've seen coaches come in with, okay, we all talked about, I'm just giving the closest example to us. We're all talked about Spurs, how the squad needs everything. And then the guy comes in last year and then bang, as you said, they're hard to beat. I'm sorry, and I'm not taking that thing, that the narrative that everybody's trying to run now, like he did it for a reason because the Glazers were in the stands. No coach, if you played football and if you have coached football, you would know that no coach is gonna go to the game wanting to lose for any reason. No coach does this. This doesn't happen in football.
Look, as I said, I wasn't able to enjoy it as much as I should have because of the Liverpool performance. Not so, yeah, the result, of course, was horrible, but the performance was worse. Wow, it was worse. But we done a massive 2 hour show yesterday. The Liverpool people in the chat, as you know, yesterday was probably one of my most therapeutic shows that I've done with the guys. 2 hour show, solid, absolute solid show where we really broke it down and tried to give a rational and logical approach as opposed to just shouting and screaming and saying owners out, Klopp out, Henderson out. We tried to rationalize it and be as logical as we could have. Hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't, go check it out. But Mo, after that performance, we wake up. In fact, while that game was going on, just before this game on, the rumors started circulating about Man United and their plans in the transfer market. We know they're after Frankie de Jong. We also know, we'll touch upon that, what is going on with that. But then this bombshell hits us, or hits them, I should say. Manchester United are confirmed by reliable journalists like the likes of Laurie Whitehall. Manchester United interesting in signing Marko Arnautovic. Bid made for 8 million euros. Would be a player to bolster the attacking options. Ten Hag and McLaren worked with him at 20. Admired for his character and strength. Your initial thoughts, my brother?
He's a good player. I liked him. He came through the Inter ranks when he was young after coming from the Dutch league. And then he was at the same time with Balotelli. When Balotelli went to Man City, you remember, after that triple season. And he's a good player. He has a... Let me tell you something. Do you want to change... If they want to change the culture at Man United, Arnautovic is the opposite of that. Attitude, history, throws his arm up, doesn't work hard. People talking about him working. He doesn't work hard. He scores goals, though. So as Cristiano Ronaldo. And Cristiano Ronaldo would score more. Get somebody that would work the Ten Hag system like he did. He had Tadic, and then he had Halle there. Why you're bringing Arnautovic, he scored 14 goals last year for Bologna, and he scored one against my club, Inter. And probably he is one of the reasons we lost the Scudetto. But he doesn't work as hard. And he was already tested with West Ham in the Premier League, wasn't he? Did it work? He opted to go to China. Come on. They should do better than this. I feel like this signing would just go 5 steps back, not 2, 5. He's not Man United level, 33 years old. This is a disappointment. And Man United fans should throw a tantrum if this happens.
I think they're throwing tantrums. I think I don't think this has helped the mood of the Man United fan base. But is there any sense in it from the last paragraph? Do you make any sense of it from the last paragraph? So look, I agree with you. If you want someone, and if you're trying to create a winning culture, a mentality shift, which we all know this Man United squad 100% needs, Arnautovic is one of the few people that could make it. No, Arnautovic is one of those people that could actually make it worse. He could actually make it worse. He's toxic. He's a very volatile character. Do they need any more volatile characters? He's one of those that will split the training, the actual team. Never mind the fan base. The fan base already obviously doesn't like him or doesn't want him. But he's a very stroppy guy. Don't get me wrong. I think he oozes talent.
He's absolutely talented, Grizz.
I think
the guy is brilliant.
Oh, mate, he's fantastic. He's got power. He's got skill. He's massive. He's huge. He can play up front. He can play off the left. He can shoot from any angle. Heading ability, everything you see you want in a forward or attacking player. But Man United need a different mentality, a caliber of player in terms of off the pitch and when things are not going right. But me and you both agree on the characteristics and this playing style and everything. But what do you think about that last sentence? Because if you've got a new coach like Ten Hag and McLaren is his assistant, then wouldn't you be okay with giving him whatever they want, even if it's a character like him? Because this way, Ten Hag can have no excuses, Mo. He can say, I wanted an Arnautovic, you got me, what's the guy from Villarreal? The winger.
Pau Torres.
No, with the winger. My God, my mind's gone blank. The Villarreal, the one who was at...
which guy is a winger? Is he linked to somebody?
Yeah, man, the winger, man. My mind's gone blank. Any second, someone's going to tell me in the chat. Any second. Yeah. The one who's at Bournemouth, man. Danjuma. So much like. But what I'm, thank you very much, Yasser. Thank you very much, Harley. Thank you very much, Ali. What I mean by that is, let's say Ten Hag is demanding, along with Steve McLaren, I want an Arnautovic, but they deliver him a Danjuma or whoever else. He has an excuse. He has a reason if anything goes wrong. This way, if you're hiring someone like Ten Hag and he wants an Arnautovic, and it seems this is very much a Ten Hag want, need, desire because of the fact that he's worked with him, then I do what the coach says, me personally.
I get it, but they worked with him 13 years ago, 14 years, actually more than 14 years ago, right? Like this is kind of, I'm not sure. It's kind of strange to me that he would want that. But hey, who do I know? How do I know this guy? That I don't know him. For me, I don't know what he wants because apparently he only was set on Frankie de Jong and he didn't land Frankie de Jong. He wanted Lisandro Martinez, who looked okay. Maybe this guy has something else that we don't know, me and you, Grizz. Like he wanted a short center back, got bullied by Danny Welbeck. And
that's just the start, by the way. That is just the start of things to come for that centre back. Man United fans have been in my messages and DMs and abusing me like shit and all sorts and whatever. But that's just the start, United fans. This guy will be a disaster of a centre back in the Premier League. A disaster.
We saw, Grizz, right? We don't see the future. All I can say is I'm someone who just looks at what you're giving me and see what the results will be. If he comes out to be the greatest, that is the unexpected. But I'm sorry, this is the Premier League. Look at Lewis Dunk. Look at how in corners. Look at big forwards like Matete from Crystal Palace. This is not going to get... Look at Arnautovic. Mitrovic. This is not going to get easier for this guy. Danny Welbeck is just, as you said, Grizz, it's just, this is the start of this. How? I don't get it. I don't get it. But maybe Ten Hag thinks that he's going to come in and he's Guardiola or something and can do this. Even Guardiola, when he played, I remember when Fernandinho started to drop as a center back, they started targeting him because he's a smaller center back than the average center back in the Premier League. So I'm not sure. But again, it's what he wanted. So no excuse for that. If the guy fails, it's on Ten Hag. It's not.
But this is my point. This is my point. If Ten Hag wants this, and this is definitely a Ten Hag requirement or a request because of the links. Otherwise, it makes zero sense in any way, shape, or form. It makes absolute no sense. It makes no sense from an age-wise. The only way it makes sense in other ways is if they already know that Ronaldo is gone. So therefore, they need an experienced guy who can lead the line because Martial is just Mr. Injury prone himself. To rely on Martial would be, or that they can't secure their attacker that they want until maybe January or even next window. That's the only way that this makes sense, Mo. Otherwise, it makes no sense. And if that's the reason that they're going for him, because the manager has specifically required and asked for him, I would bring him if I'm the owner. Despite the uproar it's going to cause in the stands, people are going to go mad, right? And rightly so, as you've said. Maybe I can see it from that point of view. But Mo, him and Ronaldo won't work together.
No, it won't. It's exactly what you said. It's if they know that Ronaldo's leaving, so they get this guy. But again, this guy might get you 10 goals, but is this the way if this the aim? I don't get it, right? They invested in Eric Ten Hag. They invested in Lisandro Martinez. They wanted to invest in De Jong. Now you have to get this guy the tools that he should work with. But if he's asking for Arnautovic, and we would never know, by the way, right? Because nobody can tell us this. This is all speculations that they liked him because they worked with him at Vente. But I
But
don't
that's
think
the only reason, though. What else could be the reason? Like, let's
nobody on
think
the market.
logically.
There's nobody in the market for that price.
Really? So they went. We know they tried to ask about. Well, they tried to go for Nunes, which is a certain profile of striker, right? Then we know they were linked with Sesko. We know now that he's now on the verge of joining Leipzig, and then will be loaned back to his club. From Sesko to Arnautovic. Explain, bro. I'm trying to understand.
Listen,
Explain.
it looks like this guy Ten Hag is looking for a big forward, and it's opposite to the way he wants to play football, from what we understand, right? Like, we understand that this guy wants to play football on the ground, wants to play tiki-taka. Like, he used to play Van de Beek at Ajax, sometimes the false nine, and put Tadic to the line. So he's not, his type of football is not the big guy. He chose a small center back.
So who was his striker? Who was his striker at Ajax? He had Sebastian Haller.
Tadic.
Okay.
It was before Haller. It was Tadic.
It was Tadic. He was playing Tadic.
Yeah, and Tadic used to go to the sides, and it was Van de Beek going to be the false nine, and it was like, it's a machine, you know. It was like a some kind of like position exchange machine that everybody goes everywhere. But now we want to bring a stationary forward. Does he want to change the way they play? I'm scratching my head like you, and then it's like, why they're going for the big forward? What is this guy thinking, Ten Hag? You know, like, it's like, again, we don't know what is happening, but if this happens, it's not great for this guy, man. Come on, just give me a break. I was talking on Never a Foul again, and they brought it up, and I said I watch a lot of Serie A, and you can tell how good your signing is if you know when. I'm going to give an example. I know you're going to talk about this. When Tottenham were linked with Bastoni, Inter fans went to protest in front of the headquarters. Rabiot being linked to Man United, and they're throwing a party at Torino. It tells you what, right? You know, you see my point here. They at Juventus, Calcio Twitter, which is the Twitter for Serie A, the Juventus fans are throwing parties on Twitter. Go to any Juventus Twitter account, big one, and they'll say, "Oh yeah, give us the money, get the guy, take the guy." They were so happy when they signed Pogba that this guy will get benched, that they're gonna play Zakaria, Locatelli, and Pogba, and now they're like, "No, we want someone else because Pogba's injured." But when this guy is gonna go, they're throwing a party. Is this the way Man United want to go? You have Fabian Ruiz, who is linked to PSG. This is Man United, for God's sake. Go snatch Fab Ruiz from Napoli and from under PSG's nose. Go for Tielemans. He's better than Rabiot. It's very obvious that his club doesn't want him.
His club doesn't want him. The fans don't want him. A lot of the players speak ill of him. He's fallen out with so many teammates. His mum causes absolute drama. It's exactly what United don't need, yet I seem intent on bringing to the club. This one makes, I don't know. So this one I don't understand from even the coaching making a demand aspect. I think this one, is probably this one is a backup plan. Of course it is, to Frankie de Jong. But my God, what an awful backup plan from every angle. There's a stat I read today about him, and I don't know if you're aware of it, and I can't be bothered to bring it up on the screen. It says Adrien Rabiot completed 2.49 progressive passes for Juventus last season, ranking him in the bottom 12% of midfielders in Europe. 2.59 progressive passes for a club like who? For a club like what? For a club like what and who in what league. We are talking Juventus in Serie A, who are the dominant team or supposed to be one of the dominant teams. And this guy averages 2.49 progressive passes and is ranked bottom 12% midfielders in Europe. That is shocking, Mo.
Listen. It's kind of strange because I watch this every week because I watch a lot of Serie A along with the Premier League, and of course Juventus being the main rivals to us in Italy. It's just I watch most of their games, and it's just the guy would give you a worldie every now and then, would score a banger, right? That's why he gets called to the French national team. But in terms of the way they play, he doesn't suit the team. In terms of the way that Man United want to go forward, he doesn't suit the team. He doesn't work as hard as people think. He's not someone who will unlock anything. The only reason I see this logical is the money, because it's only 15 million. But this is Man United. Man United
It can't
don't
be
care
a
about the
money issue, man. It can't
Exactly,
be a money
right?
issue.
Because why would you go for a 15 years old, for a 15 million euro midfielder or a 15 million pound midfielder? This is Man United. I'm sorry. There is no midfielder. There is no decent midfielder in the Premier League that is worth 15 million. There's not even one. There is nobody less than 20. There's nobody. Yeah, like I can't remember. Romeo at Southampton is probably worth more than this. Why are they going for this? And they need a starter. They don't, as you said, Grizz, backup. What backup? You need a starter today, tomorrow, for the next game.
Minimum one starter. That's minimum.
Yes. You need one for next week. You have a game next week. You need one that is ready, that's gonna come in, hit the ground on it. Idrissa Gana Gueye might be a good option. Why they don't go for this guy? Paredes, I know that people don't like Paredes, but Paredes is not a bad option from PSG. It's astonishing how this club is being run. And we have been told that Ten Hag is coming with the ambition of taking the club forward. I'm sorry. We have a friend who said on a show a couple of days ago that he puts United at the moment with the mini league with Leicester, West Ham, and Newcastle. Shame.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Shame.
There's no doubt about it in my mind. There's no doubt about it in my mind. They are in with the group with West Ham, Manchester United. West Ham, Newcastle, possibly Leicester, even though I think Leicester will drop this season. But you know what I mean, in that group.
Yeah.
That's what they compete
7th, 8th, 9th, like looking at Newcastle, if Newcastle get 2 more signing over the line.
Yeah.
Newcastle they are battling for top 6.
Yeah, he's just as bad. McTominay yesterday completed only.
I'm not going to talk about McTominay. I think we're wasting our time talking about McTominay again. I'm sure you killed it. I'm sure we killed it. Everybody talked about him. It's done. This guy, he was a Alex Ferguson product. And Alex Ferguson, as he was wrong about Pogba before, Alex Ferguson is not God. He makes mistakes, people. People need to understand that Alex Ferguson, as good as he was, sometimes he made mistakes. He made mistakes with some players. He let Pogba go for free, and he became one of the best midfielders in the world. They brought him back, which was wrong, right? Which was wrong. But he made a mistake. He made a mistake about McTominay. He said McTominay is the future, McTominay is that, and we don't see it. This is how many years later, Grizz, now? It is 10 years later.
I think they're in a massive hole and mess. And you know why I can speak with so much confidence and so much this perception of knowledge? And some people may think, what the F do you know about our situation? You know what the answer to is, to my answer to those people, Mo, is I support Liverpool. And, you know, before Jurgen Klopp, we had this with Hodgson. We had this with the Dalglish second era. We had this with the Graham Souness era started. We had this with the Roy Evans era. I've had this era. Yeah. So I've just named you 4 managers that gave me the most experience, most know-how to speak about these situations. We know when a club's in turmoil and a fan base sometimes doesn't believe it because it thinks we were good 10 years ago. We were the best team in Europe just 15 years ago, whatever. 10, 15 years ago. This can't happen to us. We're an institution. not a football club. We're an institution. But if it can happen to Liverpool, trust me, it can happen to anyone. And we're seeing it. The panic buys, the managerial changes. Every manager was seen as the next. This is it. This is it. When Graham Souness came, wow, this is it. When the King returned, Kenny, this is it. It happens all the time, people. They're in a lot of mess. And you know, the funny thing is, as you said, look what Juventus have done to them. Look what Juventus have done to them with the Pogba, with the Ronaldo, and now they're giving them the most unwanted piece of trash as far as they're concerned. They're giving them Rabiot as well, and they've taken Pogba back for free.
Man, it's
Make sense of that, people.
Unheard of, to be honest. Like, there has to be someone in the club working against the club. I'm sorry. How is that even? Someone is working against the club inside the club.
Look, we laugh and we joke, but as a fan, they must be going through hell, and we're enjoying it. And long may it continue. I want to bring your attention to something else. So we know you're an Inter Milan fan and a Serie A expert. And a lot of Liverpool fans have been messaging me. Grizz, we saw some rumors on Brozovic. A, would this make sense? B, what's the situation with Brozovic and Inter Milan? And then we'll get on to the player maybe. Or let's start on the player first without getting into the nitty-gritty. Talk to me about Brozovic and as a player and his attributes.
So Brozovic is the best regista, which is a deep lying playmaker in the world.
Wow.
I'm being serious. So the reason why when we played Liverpool in the Champions League, we were able to control the midfield the first game is because this guy was playing. There's not a lot of players in the world that will demand the ball in any places under any pressure. It didn't matter who was marking him. Henderson was trying on him. Fabinho was trying to close him down. I think it was who was playing for Diego Jota was on him at that game. And there was nobody that could get near the guy at that game against Liverpool. Against Real Madrid, none of the midfielders at Real Madrid could get close to him. The difference is he plays very different than the way that Liverpool play. In terms of Fabinho is a guy that gets the interception, does the disposition, and then passes to the next one. Brozovic wouldn't do that. Brozovic is a guy that gets the ball and he builds up the play. So but he tackles as well. So he covered the most distance in Serie A, normally, in every game, of course, and all over the season, while being the same role as Jorginho and the same rule as there's not a lot of players, like Pirlo, but Pirlo has the long balls. This guy has short passing. So all I can tell you is that without Brozovic, it falls apart at Inter. This is how important he is. Even though we have Barella, Lautaro, we have Skriniar, without Brozovic, it falls apart. It's as simple as that. Do you need him? No, you don't. They are going for the wrong player. They're going for the wrong players. Huh?
You don't think we need someone in his profile? The way you've described him is I suggest so okay.
Fabinho plays. He plays in the sitting midfielder. So when he plays for Croatia, there is Modric and Kovacic around him. But you have Fabinho in that place.
But this is where I'm going to say something controversial here. This is why I said to you, you really don't think we need him? Because I haven't given you my opinion on Fabinho.
Oh, that's... I didn't expect that. I didn't see that coming.
Probably Liverpool fans are going to say, okay, where's he going with this? I'm not saying we're selling Fabinho, we get rid of Fabinho, or Fabinho is finished. But what I'm saying is Fabinho, Liverpool fans, or the ones that really analyze the game from a neutral point of view, which is difficult when you support your team, will tell you Fabinho's performances vary from the majority of them being 8 out of 10 to 2 and 3s out of 10. And the 2 and 3s out of 10 he's been having more and more regularly, in my humble opinion. He absolutely needs top quality competition. And proof in the pudding, and Jurgen Klopp and the hierarchy and the coaches, proof in the pudding is that's why we went for Oriol Shumeni so hard. Because he would have been the ultimate Fabinho, higher to his crown, or even play alongside him. So Fabinho is wonderful, before I get clipped up. But when he's not wonderful, there's no average Fabinho. He drops to a 2 out of 3 out of 10, like yesterday. Henderson got a lot of abuse. Thiago was accused of having a crap game. Trent got a lot of abuse. The worst play on that football pitch was Fabinho yesterday. But people don't like speaking about it because Fabinho, Brazilian magic, the whole aura. The English tax is always stronger with Trent and Hendo for the hate as well as the overpraising, if you know what I mean. Yeah? So you can overpraise someone because they're English. Yeah, you say, oh, they're English and they're getting, they're hyped up. But you can hate them more as well because it's a nasty, vicious circle that we shouldn't have. But it is what it is. Fabinho was the worst player on the pitch, Mo, and I'm telling you that as a Liverpool fan who watches his team every game. Probably I watch it 3 times. And so Brozovic, for me, would be the ultimate play alongside him or be able to play in his position.
So if you get Brozovic, you might be able to switch to 4-2-3-1. But
Bravo.
Jurgen Klopp wouldn't do that because still, and I said it that with you here, your creativity comes from the fullbacks. And to cover the 2 fullbacks, because not a lot of teams in the history of football have the 2 fullbacks going up at the same time. Not even Manchester City don't do that, by the way. When Cancelo go up, Walker stay back because you need to have 3 in the back most of the time. But Jurgen Klopp can afford to have both of Trent and Robertson or Tsimikas when he plays to go up because you have Henderson, Fabinho, and Thiago or whoever plays to cover that fullback. Now, I said it before, if you play 2 as pivots, 2 pivots, that will need to change a little bit. But however, I get your point. If you want to replace Fabinho, there is no one in the world that is better than him. There's no one in the world that is better than this guy. This guy, for me, he's the ultimate number 6 in the modern football. The ultimate number 6. But again, I'm not sure where you're going if Thiago is injured. This is kind of something that I think you'll need to address before you address Fabinho's position, which is there is Barella. I know that people don't like the word Telemans, but I think he's not bad. I'm not sure who else is in the market. There is Kovacic from Chelsea, but he has 1 year or 2 years left. Kovacic would replace Thiago, not bad at all.
But no chance they would sell us. No chance sell us.
Yeah, because a direct rival.
Sure. But the reason why I want to bring up Brozovic is because Jurgen Klopp is a massive fan. I know that for a fact because he has spoken about Brozovic in the past. Personally, I just want to clarify, this is not information based. This is just media reported. I have not heard that we are interested in Brozovic before people say Grizz said, so why aren't we signing him, and then call me a fraud or whatever. You can still call me a fraud. It's not a problem for me. But this is nothing to do with anything I've heard. This is just rumors on Twitter. And so therefore I thought I'd speak to Mo, who is an Inter Milan fan, who gives us the lowdown on the player. I'm in actually agreement with these guys. I think Rodri is the best number 6 in the world, personally. But I wouldn't argue with your opinion, because that's your opinion. Brozovic, so now talk to me about his situation with Inter, the contract situation.
He just renewed his contract last year to 2026.
But we know that the contract is just a piece of paper these days that is written on. We know what it means. It means the value of the player is increased. So therefore, and we also know, correct me if I'm wrong, that Inter Milan do need money.
Yep. So they are in deep trouble.
Is he one of the untouchables?
He is one of the four. The four, actually, he wasn't one of the four. The four were Bastoni, Skriniar, Barella, and Lautaro. These are the big names for sale. He wasn't on the market at all. But we got someone named Aslani, a young kid, 20 years old. He is gonna be the next Brozovic for us, for Inter.
What's his name?
Aslani, young kid. He's Albanian,
Okay.
I think. He's a regista as well. The thing about Brozovic is that the rumors in Italy is that Liverpool are going to offer Firmino and Naby Keita to get Brozovic to Inter. That's the rumor in Italy. But Inter want cash. They don't want players because they are in need for cash. So the valuation, I don't know how much is it. Nobody has said, and the club hasn't put a price on him. Like they put a price on Skriniar, they wanted 70 million euros. It was flat, simple. And for Bastoni, it was 70 as well. It was a public information. For this guy, they haven't put anything public yet about actually if he's on the market or not. But to be honest with you, I doubt that he will be on the market. I doubt, because he's irreplaceable. Yes, we bought a 20 years old, but he's irreplaceable. It's just kind of, I'm not sure how strong the links are. I think maybe Liverpool will be linked with Barella more because they want a Barella. They need a Barella. You guys need someone like him in the midfield. But is Jurgen Klopp, he's a big fan. Does he need Brozovic today? I don't know. He's 29 years old, going 30. He was born in 1992. And that doesn't suit the age. Well, it doesn't lower the age of the squad. You have Van Dijk, you have Salah, you have Henderson, you have Fabinho, who's going 30 next year, and you have Thiago. So maybe he wants to lower the age as well. So
he absolutely does, and that's why, despite certain people claiming that we are interested in for them, I wouldn't read too much into it. People, and I'm not saying that because I haven't heard anything that means there's nothing. I'm just suggesting that it doesn't make sense as well from a logical point of view. But the other name you mentioned as well, Nicolo Barella. Nicolo Barella has been linked with Liverpool for a few years, a couple of years before he went to Inter. He came from where, Mo?
Cagliari.
While he was at Cagliari,
he's a young player that came through. Antonio Conte, bro. I know he came. Yeah, the year Antonio Conte came. And
why I know about this player is because this is a player that I did have information on before he joined Inter Milan. He actually was a guest at Anfield with his agent. We were very much interested in him, but of course he chose Inter Milan. When you're playing in Italy, Inter Milan is the club you go to. If they come for you, it's like you don't say no. He went to Inter Milan. He's done very well there. So therefore, that's why I know of that time the interest. I still believe we have a very strong interest in Barella, but I think we made the decision very early on that it was Barella or Jude Bellingham. And I believe we've gone for Jude Bellingham. And therefore, we have to wait for Jude Bellingham. But a lot of clamor for Barella as well, because that's what us fans want. We want player X, we want player Y, and we want player Z. Antonio Barella. Nicolo Barella. Mo, talk to us about Nicolo Barella. Profile of player, and then we'll get on to his situation with the board and availability, etc., etc.
Energetic, runs the right side, similar to Henderson, but probably more tactical player, can dribble, can pass the ball, can cross. Very strong, even though he's not the biggest, very strong. Contributes defensively, offensively. Sometimes he was used as the last man in the midfield, the number 6 sometimes, under Inzaghi last year. He is a player who is, like we call him at Inter, the Energizer Bunny, because he never stopped running during the game on that right side. It goes to the wings as well. He is that kind of player, like runs all the time, like a Bernardo Silva that doesn't stop running all the time. So, but he is stronger a little bit. So that's why he scored the most for Italy under Mancini, even though he's a midfielder for the Italian national team during the Mancini era. He is kind of one of the beating heart of the team. Or when he was injured against Liverpool, when he was suspended against Liverpool, the 2 games, we kind of lost a little bit of that, the movement on the right side, because he was replaced by someone incompetent. But I'm not sure how much he's valued, but from what I'm hearing in Italy, because I was talking to an Italian journalist a couple of days ago, and he's saying that he's valued about 70 to 80 million pounds, and that's a lot of money.
Everything that you've described him as a player suggests and confirms why Liverpool would be interested in him, and especially a coach like Jurgen Klopp. Everything that you've profiled him as a player and told us his attributes suggests that he's the perfect player to play in that right-sided 8 for us, with Fabinho and Thiago and Barella, instead of a Henderson, whilst Elliott is still learning his game. Everything suggests, and that's why when we go for a player that is valued at around that 70, 80 million mark, we go for game changers. So just like we think Núñez will be a game changer for the next 4 or 5 years, just like we think Jude Bellingham is going to be a game changer for us in the next 5, 6 years, we thought of Barella as a game changer. He's a game changer if he comes in the Liverpool team and in the Premier League, in your opinion, Mo?
Absolutely. Absolutely a game changer for Henderson. Absolutely, the guy would take that midfield to a different level. Just
tell us. Imagine, we're asking you to imagine, because you watched him far, far more than majority of maybe us. Maybe I'm underestimating the chat, but me definitely. You've watched him far more. Imagine him and tell us how good would it be with Trent and Mohamed Salah and Barella on that right hand side.
This side would ignite the Premier League, in my opinion. This side would change the way people look at Liverpool from that side, in my opinion. I know that Henderson is there to cover Trent, but this guy Barella would get you at least 15 goal assist contribution a season. And this is plus the defensive side, the quickness, the recovery, the tackling. And this is something that you lack because Henderson is getting older, and this guy I think is 25 only. So you can get 5 years of that position is locked. I still think that you need him and Jude Bellingham at the same time, because Jude Bellingham can play on the left side of a midfielder. I know that you guys rate Thiago, but we've seen Thiago is made of glass, and Thiago's not young. Thiago isn't young. And people need to understand that this project is not this year. It's next year, the year after. As you said, Núñez is 4 or 5 years. And you have to invest. If you wanna compete regularly at the highest level, you have to invest. And because it didn't work for Naby Keita. Naby Keita was tipped to be the player of the year when he came from Leipzig. He was tipped to be the player of the year. Jude Bellingham, and so it failed. So you need both.
I was just going to say something. I agree with you, but it's very unlikely we're able to prize away Barella from Italy. It's just very difficult to prize these guys away. As you said, the price is not an issue because he's worth that much. Jurgen Klopp almost smiled with glee when he found out that Barella would be missing from both legs, because he said, wow, what a player. And they're going to miss him. So he appreciated Barella and spoke and singled him out. And when Jurgen Klopp usually does that, he usually ends up having an interest in that player, as we found out with Darwin Núñez and Naby Keita and Thiago. So he does end up going for these type of players. Barella will be very difficult. We have absolute firm interest in Barella. We have had for a little while. We kept an eye on him since the Cagliari days before. As I said, he was a guest of honor at Anfield, and his agent, but we weren't able to convince him to come to Liverpool. I don't think we'll be able to convince him to come to Liverpool now, even though, as you said, him and Jude Bellingham would be amazing together in the same midfield with Fabinho as the number 6. But You're right. Liverpool do need two players in that position, and the other player that we've been linked with and spoken highly of in terms of a transfer, and who would be absolutely willing and very easy to prize away from Lisbon, who need to sell, is Mateus Nunes. Do you have any intel and information on this type and the profile of player we're looking
I
at here?
actually didn't watch him. I know some info about him, but I didn't watch him enough last year. Only like when they played some important games against Porto. But I can't tell you a lot about him. But as we say, if Jurgen Klopp sees the guy and wants the guy, as he did with a lot of players we saw, like he chose Konati over Upamecano, for example, just an example, that means he saw something. So if he wants this guy, Jurgen Klopp knows what he wants. So I would trust that he is the profile of a midfielder that he wants, in my opinion. And he's just, from what I saw, he's like an energetic midfielder, but also creative. He's creative a little bit. So maybe he sees it. So
He's the type of player that we could absolutely do with. I've always spoken about one of the main glaring weaknesses of the Liverpool midfield is energy, mobility, and legs. Not talent, not skill, not technique, but mobility, durability, reliability, all the T's. And this guy has all of that. He may not be the most technical gifted, but he most certainly would bring vitally needed mobility and durability to this midfield. He is the one that is, if we were to go into the market in the last few weeks, he's the one we are most likely to go in for. So that's my opinion on the matter. We're very much in for him, but there's a huge difference in valuation. As always with the Liverpool, how we operate in the market, we always value the player half of what the club wants, and that's pretty much what the situation is right now. But it's one to keep an eye on, people. Let's see how this one develops, especially with the injury situation. Mo, I've just realized that I'd love to carry on talking, but I've just realized I've double booked another show at 9 p.m. on another channel. Quite a big show, quite a huge show. And I'm getting reminders in the chat, Grizz, what you're doing. So this is the nature of people that for some reason follow me from channel to channel, and I'm absolutely humbled by their support and blessed with their support. Mo, thank you very much for coming and having a chat with me today. Where can people find you?
yeah, I appreciate the invite. It was great talking to you. Hopefully we can do this more soon. So guys, you can find us on Never a Foul. It is right here. I'm sure if you just Google Never a Foul, I host a lot of shows there, and we do some roundups of the game weeks, and then we have shows like Monday, and like we wrap up we talk about the game week. And also, if you are interested in Serie A, it is only one place. It's Inter Worldwide. We do watch-alongs, and we talk about Serie A in general. But for Premier League fan, if you're a Liverpool fan, you can come to Never Foul. We have, if you know Daps, we have Daps. We banter him when Man City lose, which it doesn't happen often. And we have Cass, who we banter a lot because Man United are shit, as Grizz said.
Poor fella. But guys, this has been your Daily Grizz show. Thank you very much for the support. I know I'm mucking about with you guys with the time, sometimes 9, sometimes 10, sometimes 7, and it disrupts your flow. But still, there was 200 of you in here. I'm so sorry. I keep messing about and I'm doing last minute shows. But I'll get organized. I'll get better. I might even become full-time. You never know. Peace, love, tranquility to all.